about the audience?
Later on, the audience will be able to come up to this mic.
Okay, perfect,
Yeah.
perfect. Okay, everyone,
Hi.
good evening. We are here with the, did you want to start, identify yourself on the stage?
Sure. Hi.
And then I'll take it on? Or-
Yeah.
Cassandra's
Open it up,
the
no problem.
master ceremony, and
Oh,
she's going to
Master
introduce
Ceremony,
you.
you want to take it?
Hi, everyone. Good evening. I'll be your MC this evening. My name is Cassandra Charles. I'm with Community Engagement. I wanted to welcome you to the Riverhead, New York DRI First Public Town Hall. I would like to introduce Town Supervisor Yvette Aguiar and co-chair alongside Dave Capel, Long Island Regional Economic Development Council and former mayor of Greenport, if you want to say any opening words.
Yes, good evening. This session is for you. It was created for you, and hopefully it'll be by you when you participate. We just got off a 2-hour session with the committee members that's open to the public. It is taped. It'll be on our channel in a few hours. And we're going to have 3 public hearings during this process concerning the DRI, the $10 million grant that we got from the governor's office last month. And with me, and by default, I have to my left Mr. David Capel, who's going to be my co-chair. We'll be co-chairing this together, and we have a great staff with us to move this forward. There'll be 3 meetings, and I think today they'll probably mention the dates of the other 2 meetings, and we a total of 3 meetings for public input. And Dave?
Thank you, Supervisor. Thank you, everybody. I'm pleased to be here. For those of you that don't know me, I live in Greenport, 20 miles or so down the road, and I've been there for 43 years. And over that time, I've been a regular visitor and patron and customer of downtown Riverhead. We're here, several times a week, so I've had a chance to become familiar with the downtown and the process that it's been through, both on the way down and now on the way up. I'm very pleased to be associated with this effort. Thank you.
Excellent. And before I introduce the next speaker, just a couple of rules of engagement. We have set aside some time for question and answers. And when you do so, please step up to the microphone and identify yourself and your hamlet. And if you cannot come up to the mic, we will come to you. And without further ado, Jeanette Roush.
Hello, everybody. Is the mic on? Can you hear
You
me?
gotta speak right into it, Jeanette.
Hello, everybody.
There you go.
All right. Hello, everybody, and thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to attend our first public meeting at the Riverhead DRI, led by the New York State Department of State in partnership with the ESD, the Empire State Development Corp, and HCR, Housing and Community Renewal. I am Jeanette Roush. I oversee the DRI and also BOA projects in New York City and Long Island, and overseeing this Riverhead project. With me here tonight is Nicole Jean Christian, who is also helping. And then the rest of our team is in Albany. Though we also have here tonight Denise from ESD, and I believe on the computer, Kara Longworth. So first, what I wanted to do was just explain a little bit about the DRI project before we get into the work that the consultants are going to lead tonight. So the state began the DRI 6 years ago as a community-led planning process with real capital dollars to revitalize our many downtown communities across the state. And the DRI has a number of fundamental goals: creating an active, desirable downtown, attracting new businesses for residents and visitors, enhancing public spaces and for arts and cultural events, building a diverse population, growing the local property tax, providing amenities, and reducing greenhouse gas emissions. These are some of the state goals that we look at when we're reviewing the DRI applications that are received. Next slide. And so a unique partnership works together to achieve these goals after a DRI community is selected, like yours. And at the core of the process is the local planning committee, comprised of local community stakeholders of which the co-chairs just introduced themselves. And the LPC really works to firm up the revitalization vision that's based on the work that the community has already done, and shape and play an active role in community engagement, help us review and formulate project ideas and prioritize the final project list that's submitted to the state. And with them is the consultant team, who'll introduce themselves to you shortly, and the state team, as I just introduced you to recently. The community input, we try to run this quick process so that there's community input throughout it. We strive to include significant community input, including tonight's first public meeting. Later, we'll go over many of the other ways so that you can participate as a member of the community. Next slide. The DRI process is really fast-paced, 5 to 6 months. And at the end of it, it delivers a strategic investment plan consisting of 4 major components. Winning communities vary on how much work has been done to date when they win the DRI. And we recognize the extensive work that this town has done. So our goal is not to reinvent the wheel or to repeat work that you already did, though some of it may feel repetitive, but rather to build on the work that you have done to date and fill any gaps. The first thing we do is a profile of the downtown. That's really pulling together your past plans and identifying any major trends, key assets, challenges. We may go over some of that tonight. And then we refine a vision that was, and we start with what was included in the community's application. But we also open it up to discussion and to public input, and that's one of the things we're going to be working on this evening. The vision is important, and the goals, because that is what we will, that's what will base the winning, the projects that are funded. They must be part of implementing the vision and goals. A third component of the plan is strategies and methods to achieve the downtown vision. And we'll discuss this at the next meeting. And then the fourth is the key projects to the overall downtown revitalization. We just released the call for projects, and I will be going over this at the later on in tonight's meeting. And actually, with that, I think I'm going to hand it over to the consultants, and then I'll come back later.
Sure. Turning it over to Eric Fang with Perkins Eastman. Thank you, Jeanette.
Thank you, Jeanette. Thank you, Cassandra. My name is Eric Fang. I'm a principal at Perkins Eastman. We're a planning and architecture firm based in New York City. And we're leading the multidisciplinary team to undertake this downtown revitalization plan. We have various firms that we've assembled really just to focus on the challenges here in the downtown, addressing economic development, engineering, traffic, landscape design, and community engagement. And I'm going to let everyone introduce themselves so you're aware, but again, we're going to be looking at all these different aspects. We've been touring the sites, looking at everything in person. We're doing outreach, and so it's a multi-layered approach and a multidisciplinary approach. Next. So our firm is a very diverse firm. We work in many different practice areas. We do healthcare, hospitality, housing, which gives us some insights into some of the different challenges involved in the downtown. And our real kind of focus here is really creating great places and creating great downtowns. And we've done a lot of work on waterfront. Some of the images you see here range from the District Wharf in Washington, D.C. to, on the right, Marvin by the Sea, which is the development in Rockaway Peninsula, which gives us some insights into working on waterfronts in different downtown settings. And notice, if you look at these images and on our website, we don't have a signature style. We really try to channel the character of the unique place. And, so all of our projects are really different. We really want to, that's what we really want to accomplish here. Next slide. The next slide. Paul, you want to just introduce yourself? Or you, sorry.
Paul Travis, Washington Square Partners. I don't think we need to go through this here, but yeah, our role is to analyze the real estate and economic development issues in Riverhead.
And I'll go through some of the other team members. We have W Landscape and Architecture, which is based in New York City, and is really a great and creative team of landscape designers. And they've done work throughout the metropolitan, throughout the country, really. And again, with particular knowledge of waterfronts and resiliency. Next slide. Michael Baker International, who will be focusing on traffic, access, and parking. Next slide. Cornerstone Group and C Squared, which is represented by Cassandra. Here, you've met. First Environment, who will be focusing on the resiliency and stormwater issues in particular. It's another engineering firm on our team. Next slide. And DAC, which will be the cost estimator, trying to assess the costs of the various projects.
Just real quick, Eric just wanted to acknowledge County Legislator Al Krupski. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you. So now I'm going to go through a little bit of on the overall timeline and the process. So Jeanette talked about the 4 major components of the plan, and basically, we are closer to the beginning than the end. We're at that yellow bar at the top, which is the downtown profile and assessment, which is really focused on just trying to get an understanding of the downtown, the framework. And again, we're trying to build on all the work that's been done to date, but nope, we're still on the bars. But we want to make sure that we're leaving no stone unturned, and we're making sure that we are filling in any potential gaps and identifying any potential gaps, other opportunities might not have been thought of. Later this month, we're going to go into the strategies. Right now, we'd like to really focus on the vision, and then we'll be moving into management and implementation strategies, the projects, and then the investment plan. And the goal is to wrap up in July. So the main vehicle to advance this is the local planning committee, and we have members here at the table, and we meet on a monthly basis. All meetings are open to the public online. We're going to alternate online and in-person meetings, and on a bi-monthly basis, we're going to have public meetings. So this is the first. This is the red box on the left in March, and then we'll have another one in May 23rd, and then that one will be focused on sharing the initial list of projects and strategies, and then July we will present the draft plan, which will be really toward the end, but with an opportunity to influence and get any last comments we can, so we tighten that up and make sure that it's the best it can be. The goal is to wrap up the whole process in July and have that plan ready and done. So the study area, next slide, is as you're all familiar with, it's really between Railroad Avenue and the river, and then Osborne and Howell, more or less. There's a little tail up here. And this is really, it's a very compact area. It's, if you draw a circle, you could, around the whole thing, you would see that you can really walk from one end to the other in about 10 minutes. This area is really featuring all of the really terrific assortment of attractions, entertainment, culture. It's got the river, it's got the train, it's got Main Street, it's got the history, and we really feel like it's got great bones. It's got all the assets that any downtown can really take to use to take off. And our focus here again is to really make sure that we can kind of connect all these dots, make sure that the state's funding can go to the right combination of catalytic projects that can really, again, kind of propel the downtown into its next, the next era of its revitalization. Again, building on the great work that the town's done to date. So the town, as you know, and many of you participated to get to this point, the award, the project award from the state, completed a very comprehensive and well-articulated application, which included a vision, goals, and a preliminary menu of potential projects. Today, we wanted to have a conversation about your vision for the downtown and your goals. So the vision statement, we'll go through, I'm going to read through that as articulated in the application. Then we'll go through a series of questions just to kind of prompt you to, again, our goal is to make sure that we're leaving no stone unturned and that we're identifying any gaps and any potential opportunities. So the first was a vibrant and compact, walkable, dynamic neighborhood oriented along the Peconic River. The second one was a regional destination and gateway to the North and South Forks. The third was a diverse community welcoming of all ages, races, and demographics. Fourth was a new recreational cultural hub on Long Island's East End. And the fourth was a central location for workers, families, and visitors to live, work, and play. Okay? So now I'm going to go through a series of questions. We're going to have a period for folks from the audience to come up and identify anything or comment on anything that we might have missed or any kind of thoughts, nuances on that. We have cards for folks to fill out to.
Sweet.
Okay, and so the first question really is, what do you think when you think of downtown Riverhead? Okay, yeah, sure.
So
Sorry.
before you get started, and Allison, I see your question in the chat, so just give me a second here. They can't see the screen, and I didn't realize that until now, so apologies. But you were handed cards when you first came in, so a color card coincides with a color question, as you can see, that we'll just point it out. So the idea here is, however you feel comfortable participating, take your color card to answer your question, and if you want, someone will come around and collect. We can post them on the post-it there and put it on the wall for everyone to see. If you'd like to drop your submission at the door, and you don't feel like getting up, that's fine too, just to give everyone an opportunity to participate. Just give me a second while I figure out the screen. Did you want to add anything, Will or Eric?
But there's a box over here, if you want to drop your card.
Okay.
Oh, we weren't up and sharing.
Allison, is that better? Or anyone?
Okay, we good? Nope. Okay, good. So the first question is, what do you think of when you think of downtown? So, we just collected a series of images that represent, from what, our understanding from all the conversations that we've had and, doing research and walking around, but, we don't know, we're scratching the surface, we're just still getting to learn. But, the things that struck us, right? Number one is the history, right? It's the county seat. It's got such a rich history. It's got a rich history on the river, right? That's the reason for the name Riverhead, right? That's the genesis of the town. Like many other towns and cities, is the river. We know that this is really a great place for gathering, right? So many festivals and other events, cultural and otherwise. It's a place that's walkable, really, which is it's very unique in this whole area, really, that you have a walkable downtown fabric with streets and blocks that are compact, sidewalks, amenities, ground level retail and restaurants and so forth, and then it's a place where people work. Okay. The next question, and just file these away. If you have thoughts, again, we're going to open this up shortly after I go through this cycle of questions. The second one is, what do you see as downtown's strongest attributes? So again, we know, and I mentioned that, all of the bones are here, the destinations, the Suffolk Theater, Vale Levitt, the aquarium, you've got the Riverwalk, and all these great events. Those are things that jump out to me. So what are the strongest attributes? The third is, what do you see the role of downtown, how do you see the role of downtown within the larger town, right? So, more people don't live downtown than do live downtown. People go downtown for lots of different things, right? The Civic Center, the courthouses, the restaurants, again, the recreational activities, the river, the gatherings, and so forth. Or as a place to work, and now increasingly a place to live. So what do you see the downtown's role is within the town? Okay. And then let's keep going. And then how do you see the role of the downtown within the larger region? So in their the statement, it was articulated as a destination and a gateway for the North and South Forks. But how do you see this, the downtown playing a role, and what's its role, unique role within, this larger region, right? So you know that the downtown, in certain ways, competing with other downtowns within the region, and so how do you carve out the unique place with its unique advantages, and take greatest advantage of those? The third is, who do you feel downtown is serving well currently? And then, are there people who aren't being served by downtown well currently, or aren't being served at all, or aren't well served by downtown? And we know that, the downtown, again, is a place, there's a lot of diversity. There's a lot of different, there's educational institutions, there are cultural destinations for families, there are places to dine and entertainment for adults. What's missing? What could be, who could be served better? And then, what is missing from the downtown that could help you thrive? If you have a business, if you feel that the downtown's kind of success is tied to the success of the greater town, if you live downtown, what could be added to the downtown or improved, tweaked, that could help you thrive? And then the last question is, what do you think could be improved or added to the downtown? And we know the town's application, through a lot of hard work, put together a preliminary list of various projects. These are all things that we know that are have been proposed, recently completed, or in process of development. Great idea for the town square, Long Island Science Center, the transit-oriented development by the train station, extension to the theater. There's new residential, so there's all sorts of things that are happening downtown. What other things are there that you could think of that might improve downtown and address some of those other questions that we asked previously? So we're taking cards, right? I think that we're going to, have time for on the mic. How much time do we have? Okay, so we're gonna open this up for folks online and in the audience to come up. We had a great discussion at the, excuse me.
I might suggest you go to the first slide and collect the first slide cards, because I think it's, people probably have forgotten which button was
Sorry.
color by now.
That's a good idea.
I don't want to be negative.
All of your cards are stacked in the order of the questions asked.
first, then, which is what do you think of when you think of downtown?
Do you guys want to read your cards aloud? Would you like me to read them, or do you want to pass them along? Anyone else? Okay. What do you think of when you think of Riverhead? A vibrant, bustling downtown with active entertainment and events. Can you hear me? Desirable restaurants and retail shops, convenient and affordable housing. What do you think of when you think of Riverhead? Riverhead, a place wanting to grow. Yes? What do you think of when you think of Riverhead? Home, pride, river, potential. 2 exclamation points. Anyone else? Yeah, oh, sorry. Apologies, okay. What do you think of when you think of Riverhead? Think of historic buildings, Suffolk Theater, restaurants, car traffic with small amount of walkers. Do you want me to say your names? Peter? Comment from Peter Wanderer. Yeah. The Long Island Science Center is operating a pop-up facility at Tangers. Okay. Vision. What do you think of when you think of Riverhead? Vision. DRI to include a facility that will attract families from a large area around Riverhead. What do you think of when you think of Riverhead? Great potential. The river. Boating. Community gatherings. I get too quick. Place I grew up. Memories. That's awesome. In addition, we have historic buildings, alive on 25, welcoming, and voting. For those of us who don't know what Alive on 25 is, does anyone care to share?
It's a summer event. We have, this year it's gonna be Friday night, 4 Fridays in summer, close down Main Street, everyone comes down. I can,
Sure?
yeah, I mean, I'm gonna read. I think everyone here probably,
They've been.
right?
Street
Yeah.
festival,
So then everybody knows.
live music, cold beer.
Yeah.
Any more big cards? Okay.
Thank you, Brian.
And then Jeanette, you wanted to read?
Yeah, there's a comment from Allison on, before we add anything, I think we need to make sure people feel safe downtown, but don't think they currently do. But we should add places that will attract young people. Also need to add parking.
Excellent. Okay. Is that it for the pink?
Yeah.
Okay. What are the downtown's strongest attributes? Orange cards? Strongest attributes.
So while you're collecting the cards for the downtown strongest attributes, I just want to add another comment from what do you think of when you think of Riverhead? So I'll read this from Marilyn. Adding to my statement of what I would like to see downtown are regularly occurring public events. Riverhead used to be go-to place. Many restaurants and coffee shops used to have live music, poetry slams, and children events sponsored by the Riverhead Clergy Council. The African American Educational and Cultural Festival organization hosted a festival which can be sponsored by the town. Also, the AAECF is looking for space in the DC1 area for an African American museum, as right now we curate and exhibit as libraries and schools we would like to host year-round. Okay, guys. Online, let's stick to the questions, and then we'll go with these comments later.
downtown's strongest attributes. I saw the cards here, the pink ones that were in red, but we'll read them later. Strongest attributes: river, riverwalk, apartments, infrastructure, AKA sewer, restaurants, entertainment, water, sewers. What are downtown's strongest attributes? Thank you for writing the question. Riverfront, boating, theater, health and wellness, restaurants, small Main Street, feel historic, river, aquarium, original places to go, Star Confectionery, Rendezvous, Suffolk Theater, SC Historical Museum, and new restaurants. Strongest attributes: river, but never utilized, aquarium, and restaurants. I gotta go to some of these restaurants, my goodness. Riverfront, attractions and entertainment, central location to both forks. Thank you, Peter. Strongest attributes: potential for access to Peconic River via Town Square. Restaurants, historic houses, river, aquarium, restaurants, craft beverages, and lastly, the aquarium, the theater, and the new housing. Do we have any comments online?
You have to.
No, not to that question.
So moving along.
Somebody said cobbler.
Ah,
Yeah.
I did earlier, at the vacuum store.
How do you see the role of the downtown within the larger town? This is your green card. The lighter green card.
Cassandra, you said there were a few pink cards for the first question?
Yes, thank you. So sorry, I didn't see them on the side there, but the question was, what is your vision?
What do you think of when?
What do you think of when you think of Riverhead? Yes, thank you. Okay. Opportunity, river, crew, boats, kayaks, boat race? Is that race? Crime, flooring, flooding, sorry. Traffic, restaurants, need buildings with wider sidewalks. I apologize. No more multi-story apartments. Did I get it right?
That's right.
And then, downtown Riverhead has so much potential to be very attractive, especially with river. However, it looks very run down. River is hidden from most people driving by. When you get off the LME and drive to downtown, it doesn't show up. Are we all set with our green cards? No? Okay, great. Okay, if you're still writing, that's fine, we'll get to it. through. Just hand it over. We'll just read it out loud when we get to that color. No problem. Okay. How do you see the role of the downtown within the larger town? Unique shopping retail, mom chain restaurants, museums that draw people, restaurants that entertain after a show. Place for making memories, out to dinner places, and cultural area. Art, events. Place for urban town or, help me?
Place for urban or town experience.
Experience, thank you. Competition to malls, urban versus generic sprawl. To attract business and people and tourists. Role of downtown in larger region. River, Peconic, plus aquarium, and Long Island Science Center. Tourist economy, hotels. Role of downtown within larger town. Local business, shopping. Keep tradition and history alive. Bring community together. Something support of town. Stop supporting big box names on 58, on 58. No more multi-story housing. We are not queens. A place to be entertained and enjoyed, and convenient to live and work. Do we have any more green cards?
And I have a comment here. Also, a meeting place for all town residents. And the role of downtown is to provide a space for small business to thrive, a place for families to shop, eat, and play. Riverhead is on the right track to revitalization and beautification. And then it has the ability to be the arts and cultural destination with diverse activities for all the hamlets, from one end of the town to the other. Currently, many of the further communities from downtown don't feel they have a reason to come downtown. It needs to be the place for everybody to want to go.
And then lastly but not leastly, downtown is the heart of the entire town of Riverhead. We all want it to be the best. We want to feel safe, and we want to walk and have a reason and a place to go. We want it to be vibrant, a place for experiences. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, I did do
I
that.
think there's one more, one after.
Yeah. How do you see the role of downtown within the region? We already started on our yellow cards.
What's the definition of a region?
As big as you want it to be. The forest, the county, driving distance over a weekend.
Just raise your hand or raise the card when you're done.
You're good.
I'll take it on this side. All right. How do you see the role of downtown within the region? Riverhead's unique advantage is convenience for day trippers and people hit it before the ports. North feel safe on the riverfront. Dinner destination, shows, concerts. County seat, craft beverage hub. Urban eclectic, unique East End town. Art, cultural center. Bring back county seat. Connectivity to jobs. Anywhere else? Yeah.
Yeah?
Sure.
Tells you something.
Alright. The more cards, the better. Okay. Hotels to stay while visiting our breweries and wineries, beaches, and parish? Parks, sorry. It's the destination at the end of the LIE where many people take a break on way to North and South Forks. Shopping destination. Outlets draw many for shopping. Top Long Island destination for visitors. Music, breweries, dining, riverwalk with boat rides. And lastly, a destination to be entertained with culture, food, shopping, and events. A place to walk and enjoy the sights and views on the waterfront.
And then I'll add from comments from online. It should be a hub for people to shop, dine, and spend money. We are already attracting people regionally with our events like Alive on 25 and Reflection. We can continue these events and do more unique events that have wider appeal. And then please look up Lawn on the D in Boston. I think this idea would be perfect for the space downtown.
Thank you, online. And one more in person. Potential for us to set an example for every town in sustainability. Okay.
I didn't have a card, but if I could throw out there,
Yeah.
creating high-tech jobs at EBCAL, bring more industry and people.
Got it. Did you hear that? Who is downtown serving well? And are there people who aren't well served by downtown?
High-tech jobs at EBCAL. Bring in new industry. Bring in new industry. High-tech jobs at EBCAL and bring new industry. and more revenue.
Who is downtown serving well? And are there people who aren't well served? Pink and orange, I'll take both pink and orange. We'll start with the pink, take your time. Again, if you don't have it now, you can always drop it in the box upon exit. So who is downtown serving well? Downtown is serving the adult population. Well, downtown will serve those who wish to go there. Some businesses, heavy criminals, aquarium, Downtown serving well. The potential is there. People who want festivals. Downtown is serving well diners, hotel guests, and the court system. Any more pink cards? Right, pink cards?
I'll add the online comments. I don't think young people are well-served, although I think families are somewhat well-served. I also think more family-friendly events are needed. And local professionals and families are not being served on a regular basis downtown. Nothing for them to do or experience.
Any other ones?
And another comment from online, I also don't think downtown residents are well-served. Maybe more culturally diverse events.
Culturally diverse events.
Downtown serves tourists on occasion only.
So, who is downtown serving well? Well, destination-oriented businesses, restaurants, and events such as fairs and festivals. People who aren't well-served. Thank you. Local residents and families after dark. Even daytime, I wish I felt comfortable sending my son, 12 years old, downtown for small errands. Aren't well served. Residents are served well, visitors are served well, youth is underserved. There is not enough for teens to do, i.e. high schoolers. Not well. Pedestrians, window shoppers, kids, teenagers. Aren't well served. 12 to 20-year-olds and the ADA population. Youth, shoppers, no art galleries, more festivals, bring back the Blues Festival?
Yeah.
Okay, bring back the Blues Festival. Any more? Okay. Next question is, what is missing from downtown that could help you thrive? What is missing from downtown that could help you thrive? What is missing from downtown that can help you thrive? Anyone ready with the blue?
Previous conversation.
That's fine.
Satisfied 90% of what he is asking for.
Anyone else?
Teens, I'm like, it's a little bit of research. Yeah. They do the gospel stuff. The gospel. He's out.
Joe, are you posting that on social media? What is missing from downtown that can help you Police
I said,
Rescue.
read all number one, read all number two.
Right, right.
There's so many ways that this can be. Put them all up, here's one paper. Answer
Okay.
one, two, yeah.
The following are missing from downtown that can help us thrive. More unique shops, more people to make streets alive and safe, more restaurants and food, more boots on the ground, safety
Through numbers.
through numbers. Thank you.
Rather than police.
Thank you.
Better handwriting.
I believe me. What's missing? Pedestrians and more pedestrians. More parking, Long Island Science Center. What's missing? Safety, small shops, and better parking. Missing from downtown, shopping. Thank goodness for the hardware store. We need to better utilize the riverfront events, like the cardboard boat race, rowing events, but also evening events. Light it up and make it a date night. Family-friendly place after dark too. More parking. Why did the cars get the water view?
Good question.
Excellent question.
What's missing from downtown? Flooding help, police presence, like bike cops, and parking. Open parks. This is actually a blue card. Add town square, community gathering place. A seawall. More apartments. Parking garage. Lighting on East Main Street between Aquarium and Rocks. Unique small boutiques and art galleries. Outdoor entertainment space. Fun activities for families, like fountains and playground. And then lastly, connections to the river, activation on the river.
And then I'll just add some comments from online. Unique shopping and dining experiences to make people want to come, but security is needed so people feel safer. Better pedestrian safety. In Ithaca, there are no cars in the center of town, but traffic is diverted to the outside. Not sure if there is space for that. Missing dinner theater on the water, interactive kiosk, retail clothing stores. And missing better access to Grangeville Park, especially for the handicapped and the elderly.
Can I repeat that? You can't even take a stroller through there.
How so?
Yeah, I don't know now on that gravel. Well, I mean, some of it's been paved now, but there's.
I think that part on our side of the town, back half of that is Southampton, but I think there's definitely that whole loop now that's all paved.
Yeah, you could definitely walk from Westview, we're past the stroller stage, but that's what I remember from stroller stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all paved now.
I'm the one with the 12-year-old and I won't sit downtown by himself. No way.
Right, there's some questions which I think we want to get back to once we finish this
Yeah,
session,
sure.
because there's some things that we need to clarify.
Okay. What's after blue? One more, three?
Yeah, and it's also.
What do you
perception,
think could be
and
improved
we
or
look at
added
the
to
rates,
downtown?
And we have, we can check
Just
that.
one other comment online from the last question of what's missing. a total riverfront drainage solution, traffic cop on Peconic to help pedestrians to cross safety to Grangeville.
What do you think could be improved or added to downtown? And greens ready?
That's a good idea.
Any more greens? All right. We're almost there. What do you think could be improved or added to downtown? Planetarium. All right. What do you think could be improved or added to downtown? Cooperative effort with Southampton to include areas south of Circle. We need better access to the river, lighting. We walked down to the new Cuban restaurant the other night. It was so dark. Litter, streets, sidewalks, river. More public events where people of all ages can come together. More interaction with the children. Better river access. Support for crew teams, kayaks, boat ramp, etc. Parking. Help with flooding. Deliveries to buildings. Block, help me.
Traffic on Main Street.
Traffic on Block Main Street, got it. Thank you.
Guess it's not anonymous anymore. I see it every day. And the dumpster pickup at 5 in the morning wakes up residents, which is very annoying.
Can I add that to the cart?
You can add that to the cart, sure. They pick up at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, that's pretty,
Well, when you call and complain, it's not for a couple days.
couple days. So you only have to call 100 times? Yeah.
Oh, that's good. What do you think could be improved, added? Town Square, amphitheater and music space. Fountains to play for kids. And more events. Town Square. Did I get them all?
And then I'll add from online, needs to be welcoming and beautiful with flowers and trees, lighting, etc. And access by public transportation.
One more green. Law enforcement and graffiti control. Lighting by the river and alleyways. Okay. Is that the last one?
Think so?
Did I miss any color cards from previous? Anyone just want to submit a card or include it in the box? Two more greens and then I'll read this orange. Sorry. What do we feel downtown needs added or improved? Outdoor dining. More unique festivals like Floating Symphony. We had one year. Fixed flooding issue. Art gallery, museum. More Long Island Railroad. card. Attributes, thank you for the header. Start of Twin Forks, 2 music venues, Riverwalk, aquarium, and funding now available. Okay. Well, if thoughts come to mind, please drop your color cards in the box. We'll definitely take note. Thank you for participating.
We're gonna just sum up, and, on your way out, you can also add, take a look at what we've taken down. But I also, before I do that, I had a couple of questions, because some of them were very, a little bit of clarification would help. So, family with a small son, just trying to understand what the big concerns were. Was it pedestrian safety, security, or both of the above, or just?
Well, I think my big issue is I actually have the police calling me on a regular basis to see footage from my security cameras, because I've had people go through my cars multiple times. So they actually literally call me to ask if I have footage, because I'm feeling like I'm protecting my property, because these people just walk around just looking for change all the time. And it hasn't gotten worse than that.
Stopping you on the street.
Oh, yeah,
asking you
literally.
for change.
I can be breaking the front yard and they're asking me for money. That happens once every week and a half. When I'm out picking up litter, dime bags, 40s, whatever.
Very
Oh, yeah, all the time. If I'm out front, I literally get asked.
Out front,
I
We
live,
live on East Main Street.
we live right next to Jerry and Mermaids.
As a matter of fact, if you're walking on East Main Street, between our house and our hedge, our driveway access is the only place where you can see the river from Main Street. So if people park, like for festivals or whatever, when people park wherever they park, when they're walking downtown, we had to plant hedge, which helped tremendously, because people would come into the yard thinking it was a park, but it's not. It's our private property. So now they just stop at the driveway and they look at the river, and it's funny because I can sit in my living room and watch them, and it doesn't bother me because they're looking and they're admiring our beautiful river, which I'm happy about. But I guess we get a lot of traffic past there, and we get a lot of garbage,
Okay, so I'm hearing many different things. One is safety, public safety type of thing. You want your downtown to be safe, because it's walkable, right? So you should be able to send your son out to get milk or whatever,
So-
whatever.
From our house, if you walk down to the first traffic light that's there right in front of the hotel, there's traffic light in the crosswalk, and if you cross it, that's what parking is fenced in for the Hyatt. And there's a post office box there. I sent my son to the post office box with letters the other day, and he was nervous. I said, there's a crosswalk, you'll be fine. But he knows what goes up and down Main Street, and he was nervous to do it. He did it, he stood at the window and watched him. He did it, because I need to build his confidence somehow.
Right,
He's
right.
12, he's gonna be 17 soon.
Right.
But right now, I won't send him downtown.
Okay. And then I guess the other thing that was interesting hearing is that the theme was to build on the attraction for visitors, but then there is going to be natural kind of rub between visitors and residents, right? So, I mean, that happens pretty much any downtown that's popular, but it's something it's good, we want to register that. The other comment that I just wanted to get a little more sense of, because, there's a lot of different ways to interpret it, is need for more diverse offerings downtown. And I wanted to just get a sense of what that meant, because that, from the comments that we got, that could be, more diverse types of retail offerings and shops, the dining, different types of festivals, different types of attractions like the planetarium, aquarium, things like that. Was there anything, else to that, that comment that, could shed some light or some nuance? Okay, you think I didn't nail it.
What I would say most important to that is we don't want to be Greenport. We don't want to be Southampton Village. We don't want to be Port Jeff. You're going to want people to come to Riverhead. Riverhead needs to offer unique offerings. Like the one thing where we had is that floating symphony barge that came in one year. We had Dizzy Gillespie playing the trumpet in our downtown.
Okay,
So, non, restaurants that are not chain,
right.
no chain restaurants, no chain retail,
Mhm.
unique retail. So people are gonna come to Riverhead because it has an offering that something else doesn't.
Right.
When my family and I go on vacations, we'll go to places like Salem. We love to go into little pirates, and we love to go into little hotels that are all kind of tailored to that little character, because it's something that we don't find somewhere else. So when my family has great experiences, it's because we're going somewhere that offers that little nuance that you don't get somewhere else.
Okay, great. I'm just gonna just recap.
Yeah, if you could, the microphone's
Right.
probably not picking you up, so.
That's what I was about to do, which is,
Recap.
so I had asked about the need for more diverse offerings, and the response was, wanted to make sure that, I guess, the downtown was offering unique experiences, right, unique offerings, and, not to be replicating Greenport, Port Jeff, Southampton Village, et cetera. So, just in a nutshell, so. And anything else to that comment about more diverse offerings? Oh, yeah, okay.
Referring to the chat. So, Kevin McAllister asks if verbal comments will be invited. So I think maybe
Yes.
open it up for a second.
Yeah, verbal comments are invited.
I'll open it up, but just to add these comments, access by public transportation and agreement with the jitney for the trolley to bring people from Tanger to downtown. So if I stop sharing. If anyone wants to speak up or add any comments?
I have a question or concern regarding flooding. I want to make sure that any plan to address the flooding downtown does not further hurt people up the river by leading to water not going downtown, going other places in the river,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
Yep. So the comment was, with regard to the ongoing plans to address the flooding, was to make sure that it doesn't exacerbate downstream, essentially, right? Upstream, sorry.
East.
Yeah. Any others? We have a hand raised up there, a couple of hands.
Sure, Kevin? McAllister?
Yes,
Can you hear us?
please. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. If I may start, I want to congratulate the town for obtaining this grant. I think it's wonderful, and it seems as though you assembled a very competent team. I did want to speak on the coastal resiliency aspect of the improvements to the downtown. Supervisor, some months ago, I was aware that the Army Corps had presented to the town board, and what I took from that presentation was largely an approach for further fortification, in other words, seawalls and really building barriers with respect to the river rising. I want to point out that the projections for sea level rise that are quite recent from NOAA, that report just came out, within the next 30 years, they're projecting 10 to 12 inches of sea level rise for our region. Further pointing out my familiarity with the river, I've obviously over the years have seen the extent of flooding associated with surge coming up that river from pressing easterly winds, but we're not paying attention to coastal inundation, and that's really when tidal waters come in and perch groundwater, so you have what's called nuisance or sunny day flooding. That's only going to get worse over time. I believe the backside of the downtown, with the extent of hard pavement for parking, I would urge the consulting team to really investigate thoroughly, trying to mitigate coastal inundation with further greenscaping, building in things such as rain gardens and other conveyances. And this really extends to the mainstream as well. Otherwise, realize the ability to absorb and infiltrate, floodwaters is going to be very problematic, causing enormous damage to properties. So with respect to this grant, it can't necessarily be all things, but I would hope at a minimum there are a real strategy to, again, mitigating floodwaters over time, concrete plans in place. So if funds are required at a later point to actually implement these plans, but they need to go hand in glove with the vision for the downtown. So I appreciate your consideration of my comments, and again, congratulations.
Thank you, Kevin. Our first priority, before we embarked on developing a town square, was to engage the Army Corps of Engineers. These are experts. They shore up waterfronts across the entire world. They're called USAs. You needed a supporter in the federal government to have these individuals come in and look at your waterfront. I was able to obtain that. During COVID, they came here virtually. We had a lot of GIS data in our system. There's a lot of recording being done, waves. Our waterfront floods 4 times a year, and we knew that was a priority. I worked with the CDA, Diane, John Thomas. We were able to obtain their services. We've had many meetings. A lot of data was collected. Our engineers, we provided data for them, and we have 4 mitigation techniques that we may be implementing. We're looking to, as we develop the town square, we are looking to see which is the most viable approach. This is why we're here today, to talk, to work on the problems. It is a critical problem. It is being addressed. And as far as the coastal flooding, we are looking at graphs for 200 years from now. So we know we're not just going to address the coastal flooding in 2022. This is a long-term, sustainable project, and we're going to ensure that we take the appropriate action.
Okay, any other comments?
Yeah, just.
Okay, we have another, just more information about the flood inquiries.
Yeah, and flooding's always been an issue for everybody downtown, a big question for us, and as the supervisor mentioned, she was able to get the Army Corps in here in early 2020, and we've been working with them for the past 2 years on a flood mitigation plan, which is called the Floodplain Management Study. That's been paid for by grant money. We partnered with the Army Corps. Some was from New York State. Thank you again to New York State. And the other was from the federal government. But basically, the interim conclusion until we have further design specificity for the town square is to flood protect the buildings. So build the flood wall up against the buildings rather than put the wall on the riverfront, which would block the views, and then make the area closest to the river floodable. So it would be, Kevin, as you mentioned, rain gardens or different methodologies to absorb that water and let it drain out, but it wouldn't be affecting anything up the river. So those things were considered as well. So just quickly to give you that information and make everybody's comfort level a little bit better on that.
Okay. Oh, we have one more online?
I just Supervisor and also Don for pushing that forward in regards to the Army engineers. That has always been a concern of Riverhead residents, to make sure that the underground infrastructure is shored up. So I appreciate them moving forward and following up with the Army Corps of Engineers, and just so happy that that's being done, and that will take care of a lot of questions that anyone has as far as the flooding. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My name is James Foster, from the town of Riverhead. I also have a business with my wife downtown Main Street. I want to address a couple issues. I'm so tired of hearing about parking. There is plenty of parking. I have never seen both the north and south parking lots full. And we've been there for 6 years. Safety downtown. It's not 1990. It is safe downtown. My kids are at my yoga shop playing in the parking lot almost the entire summer. It's a falsehood. It's a narrative that we really got to work on to get that notion out of people's head.
Perception.
That perception is 1994. This is 2022. You will see nothing but people enjoying restaurants, having a great time. There's no problem downtown. Do you have incidents? Of course. Every town has incidents. If you look at, Patchogue or Greenport, they all have incidents. But overall safety, it is safe. I trust my kids there, and I would trust your kids there, and you and your family. It's safe. And the other thing, Patchogue. We don't want to be Patchogue. We don't want to be Greenport. Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. Those businesses can't handle the business that they're taking in. So if we could work on perception, I think that would be. And the other thing, I was the one that commented about Lawn on the D in Boston. At home, and then I couldn't listen anymore, so I came down. So, Lawn on the D, Boston. We go there, me and my family. Set up beautiful. They had the big lighted swings, picnic tables, cornhole, giant chessboards, a track around where people roller skating around. There was young people on dates. There was older people just hanging out watching, people watching. There was kids just hanging out. It was a complete community togetherness that we had a blast. It was fantastic. I strongly suggest you look at that, and you're not going to copy it exactly because it might not fit for what you want to do, but it's a great place to start. So that's my 2 cents, and I think this is a fantastic opportunity for the town to really take advantage and turn this town around and Main Street around. Thank you, guys.
Any more questions?
I'm gonna find out what that's about. Sounds like.
So I'm just gonna sum up some of the main themes, and then I'm going to let Jeanette back and give an overview of the call for projects, because that's the reason why we're here, actually, is we're trying to collect projects for the DRI allocation. So I'm going to kind of go through them and not necessarily a prioritized order, but a few themes. Different populations that are not being served. I think the main ones we're hearing are youth, visitors, and young professionals. I think that it was identified that there's, downtown has potential and has growth. I'm not going to put those two words together, growth, potential, but I heard growth, I heard potential. And then some themes were on the flip side, right? They kind of pair. One was to be wary about excessive height, I guess, of buildings, right? And some of the kind of just coordination and issues between visitors and residents. Another theme was safety. So safety, we're talking about public safety and pedestrian safety, and concerns there, whether it be perception, reality. We're going to have to dig more into that on both accounts. Another theme was the river and making sure that there's access to the river, but also there's activities in the river. And then, again, an issue that came up, there's a recurring theme that's paired with that, is then we also have to be cognizant and have a strategy for addressing the flooding. The river is a good thing. The river is something that we have to manage as well. We heard about the town square came up repeatedly, and I know that's been a big focus, so it's great to see there's momentum and continued support, because I think that's really going to be a linchpin of the revitalization efforts going forward. The need for more diverse and unique offerings that are special to downtown Riverhead, all right? Not that we don't want to be emulating the success of Greenport and, all the other places, but we don't want to be exactly like them, right? We don't want to be a copycat. And then the last one was interesting, and heard this was the need to pay attention to public transit, rail, bus, jitneys, all good. So those are, I think, the main themes. Probably missed some. Again, you can peruse the list on your way out. You can add comments online. But I think we want to make sure we have time to talk about the call for projects. And so Jeanette's going to give us the overview of that. Thank you.
So, a good planning process, a good plan is one that isn't static, continues to move. And so your community has done a lot of planning to date, and now the state is coming in with $10 million, and we're participating in that planning process. But the planning process should continue beyond the state process. As good plans evolve and continue and adjust. And as part of the state process, though, we have $10 million that we dedicate to your town, but there's certain criteria that fits with those funding. But the way that the DRI works is we, check in on the vision and the goals. We look at the data on the community, and then we ask for projects to be submitted that are put together to create this strategic plan. We start with the projects that were in the application. You can kind of envision it like a basket, so those projects were already tossed into the basket. And now we look to fill up that basket. It's best if a community or town submits to the state at the end of the day a basket of projects that's well and above the funding that's available. Because not all projects can happen in the timeline or within the parameters that the state has. But our hope is that the funds that do go to the projects that we fund will help stimulate other funding and investments in your town. So it's critical to remember that the proposed projects should support the vision and goals of the community. I want to talk a bit more about what projects can be funded by the state. Generally, project types fall into 4 categories. First is new development or rehabilitation of downtown buildings. And often you see there public-private partnerships. We see a number of TODs or transit-oriented development in Long Island, especially close to the Long Island Railroad Station. Sometimes it's renovating historic cultural facilities and creating mixed-use development. The second type is public improvement projects. In those, we tend to see like parks or plazas. We see complete streets, which is looking at a street really for all users from building edge to building edge. So starting with the sidewalk, does it need to be wider? Does it need better lighting? Does it need benches? Do you need a bikeway? Do you need a turning lane, but, streetscape, we call it. The third is grant funding or revolving fund. And here we look for a partner to manage a fund that would facilitate for a series of individual or smaller applicants or smaller projects. What we've seen across the state on that is sometimes projects related to like Main Street facades that need improvements. We've seen some communities do public art projects through that. And so there's a little bit of flexibility there for those type of projects. We work with you closely to make the project from one that can qualify for the state funding. And then the fourth is branding or marketing. And that covers things like signage, historic trails, capital improvements that really celebrate your downtown and call out its identity to others. We can go to the next slide. So Well, it is important to note that we are not looking for a wish list of ideas, as we need to identify viable projects with a partner who can enter into a contract with the state, and to remember that these are reimbursable dollars. So the state has specific project requirements for the proposals. First is size and scale. All the DRI requests must be greater than $100,000 unless they end up being something within the grant or the fund. So for instance, maybe there's 600,000 that is put towards a fund, and then people can apply to that fund locally for smaller scale projects. But most of them need to be over 100,000 to be standalone projects. Fully residential projects must include at least 8 units and must include an affordable component to qualify. So that's with the size and scale. Private or local match. For privately sponsored projects, DRI awards can cover no more than 40% of the cost. And for public and nonprofit sponsored projects, leveraging other public and private funds is encouraged. Actually, that's encouraged on all projects. If there's funding other than the funding you're requesting from the state, it's encouraged. And then decarbonization. New and substantial rehab projects must meet stretch energy code requirements, and private projects that exceed required energy efficiency standards may be eligible for a lower private match. And we can discuss those in greater detail if that's a type of project that somebody is proposing and they need questions. And then I wanted to go over a little bit about the evaluation criteria that we look at. So the evaluation criteria, we will look at here with the local planning committee first, but also the state will look at it more closely when the projects are submitted to the state. So first is state and local goals. Is the project aligned with our goals? I went over the DRI general goals at the beginning of this presentation. Does it demonstrate strong community support? So that's important. That's also why we want community input into the vision. Project readiness is really important. Is the project well developed and poised to proceed in the near term in a way that will jumpstart the redevelopment of the downtown or the neighborhood? Ideally, we'd like projects to start within 2 years. So you don't have to have all your ducks, lined up in a row, but we'd like you to have a number of them. Co-benefits is, will the project result in secondary benefits such as additional economic activity, growing the local property tax base, or quality of life in the neighborhood? We talk about that downtown right now, you have a lot of great events, you have some great restaurants and theaters. Co-benefit, if a new restaurant comes in there, there's actually co-benefits to the other restaurants nearby. It's not competition, it's actually the more choices there, the more people will come down. And cost effectiveness. Will the project represent an effective and efficient use of public resources? And so that's the basic criteria. So the open call just went out and is out for approximately a month. If you have any questions, you can please submit them before April 13th. You can find the open call on the website, right? Riverside. Riverhead DRI, pardon me. Also, you can email us with, requests if you're having trouble finding it. And then at the next public meeting where we meet, I think it's in May, we'll be discussing some of the projects that we received in general categories. We probably won't have gone through them all in great detail, but sufficiently to give everybody an idea of what it is that we've been looking at. Any questions on the projects? Yes.
I know there's been a lot of talk about the town center, and I feel like a lot of people, we don't really know what it is. It's like, there's a vague concept of who's
Right, the question is that they've heard about the town center, but they don't really know much about it or who's designing it. So if the town center, I assume you mean the park open where the building came down to access to the waterfront? So if that was a project that would that would be selected for funding, the town would proceed with its local process, engage with the community and such, or however it started, and would spend the money, and then we would reimburse the town once it's over. We don't do that. We wouldn't be doing the engagement of the specifics of the project. Any other questions?
So the money granted, is that strictly for the downtown project, the center?
No, so the funds, the $10 million can be used anywhere within the DRI boundaries. And so maybe you could go back to that slide. So the DRI boundaries were put forth in the application. So we start with those boundaries, and right now we request that people submit projects either within the boundaries or adjacent or close to, and if they're not within the boundaries, to explain why the boundaries should be adjusted to include that area. And that's because by the time we meet again, we will fix the boundary. We'll.
What exactly is that?
Oh, could you outline that?
Oh, that whole thing, oh.
Yeah, Howell,
Just, it's hard to explain.
All the way to Main Street.
Osborne, yeah.
These materials
All the way
are on,
down to the water.
Oh, yeah.
these materials are on the website too. You can see this map on the website.
And Jake, that includes, I believe, the TOD, right? The transit area.
Right, so when you go back home, if you don't have, if you don't have any comments now, you want to look closely on the town boundaries, not the town boundaries, the DRI boundaries, proposed boundaries. And you're like, why isn't this area included, or this intersection really needs to be included both sides of the street or something? Just let us know, because right now we're just looking at that. But ultimately, when we do fund the projects have to be within the DRI boundary area. So if you know for sure that you or somebody is putting in a proposal and it's not in the boundary, they should just justify why it should be included in the boundary. And obviously, it shouldn't be in the town next over. We're not going to consider that. It's close or adjacent to, which makes sense for revitalizing this area.
Southampton's not getting any of our money. They didn't put in for it, we did.
And I'm assuming that all the proposed allocated funds to different projects within this boundary are all listed.
Yes, we have a very comprehensive DRI application, and all the mission and the vision was all there. This is just to open it up to the public, show where we are, get additional input so we can move forward. But the entire project is there. It's a lot. On a day that you feel good and you wanna, not when you're sleepy, but, and sit down. How many pages is it?
I think the application.
It's a lot. I read it.
You read it? Yeah. It's a lot, but it's very informative, and a lot of questions, a lot of.
I think the application itself is about probably 40 pages or so, the actual narrative. So I think in terms of this process, certainly riverheaddri.com. In regards to the previous question about the town square, a lot of that information, if you do a search for engage the team, Riverhead Town Square, you'll find that whole engagement process there. So that's important because it has a lot of those ideas and what the community wanted there. Certainly, that's going to keep developing as we find a private sector partner to help us make the town square everything that Riverhead deserves and what the residents want. A lot of the vision in the DRI application, and again, that application is online. If somebody, for some reason, can't find it online, certainly give our office a call and we'll just email you out a copy. There's a lot of
important information there about our vision. This vision has been part of 30 years of many town plans. I think that we're just fortunate that we're here at the right time where things are going to finally happen. And part of that vision is finally reclaiming our waterfront. That's that first step with that whole town square. Hopefully, a lot of that parking will be reallocated to the blighted area near the train station to have a compact, walkable downtown. So from our perspective, that's been what we're working on. We're all really excited and passionate about it, but of course, it can't happen the way everybody wants it to happen unless people help us continue to be engaged and participate. So, thank you.
And James, just to add to the parking component, a few years ago, a parking study was conducted in Riverhead, and it looked at both sides of Main Street. And it was a pretty extensive study. Dawn, who did the parking study?
Pardon me?
Who did the parking study?
Sam Schwartz.
Sam.
Is the name of the company, and they're in New York.
Sam Schwartz did the parking study.
Highly regarded. And they completed their study, and they reported to us at any given time, only 57% of the parking is utilized. Everybody wants that one spot or two spots in front of a store. And in other towns, you go to a riverfront, you're walking for 2 or 3, 4 blocks. And so that's, I think, in the process of being adopted.
Yeah, so we've adopted the plan, but the board is in the process of implementing those recommendations. So some of the things that are going to be implemented now are changing the times of certain parking areas. So instead of 2 hours on Main Street, it'll be 1 hour. And so we'll get better use of the parking that we have, and we'll turn over better, and the things that are parking that's closest to the businesses will have better turnover, and people that want to stay longer will have to park a little further.
That's been my experience for the past 7 years now.
And if there's
Never
any,
seen it full, and I always hear people complain about it.
Yeah.
And it's just not reality.
right.
Better lighting, maybe?
But lighting, we know, and that's an
There's
issue.
things that you could definitely do to make people feel more comfortable when if they do have to walk.
So, coming from the security field, we know lighting is the number one deterrent, and we know it makes people feel safe, and it does decrease that perception, and if anybody is gonna do something, it also,
Discourages.
yeah, it
And then
discourages that
I'll
person, so,
say another thing, our downtown police officers are the best.
Yeah.
The best.
we hear that always.
We've been through a couple, we had the rookies who now veterans.
Yeah,
Now
right.
we're
Remember
dealing with
that?
a whole new set of
Yeah.
guys coming in. They are fantastic, and their presence is always on Main Street. You always see them walking up and down.
And eventually, we might have like a police booth there with an information, and we are working, I mean, there's a lot of data, and there's a lot of concepts and a lot of theories on how to work neighborhoods, and so when the time, arrives, we'll be there implementing, and, camera signs, like smiley faces, yellow smiley faces that say, smile, you're on camera, instead of having like a big camera and say, you're being recorded. So it's gonna be user-friendly, so it's, a lot of stuff is in the work in that regard, but it's definitely necessary, and we'll get that, yes.
Just wanted to,
In 18 years of living where I am, right there on Main Street, I can count on one hand the amount of times I've seen police either on bike or walking past my house.
I see them every day.
Yeah, we have
You
to
work- you work
assign
with
steady,
their
but,
Oh, where you
Where your
guys are at?
store is, absolutely,
Yeah.
agreed. And it's busier down there, there's more action. There on that corner, that intersection, and the stores right there, I 100% support your perception for that area.
But people
Not-
park by us to go to the aquarium.
Once the aquarium closes,
okay,
after
so
the aquarium closes,
we'll
it's a
work
whole
on,
different world.
we're here just to generalize
No,
and,
just want you to see the difference, because what he's saying,
Yes.
like, I looked up the hours for your store, and I'm like, wow, I figured they closed earlier than that, but there are more people down there, it's true, and it's amazing, because it's not that far.
no,
There
it's
are
not.
Always there, so I mean,
okay.
Yeah.
There's always
Yeah.
adjustments, and even though you have those where you are now, later on, we might have to make adjustments. But we get that from empirical data. We sort it out, we look at the days, we look at the reports, we look at the date, a week, of the week, well, you know, what tour it's on, and, you know, that's really what law enforcement does. It's called pattern, crime, profiling, and that's something that we do on the side, but that'll be worked out, but we know that the perception and the police presence, you know, and you always have to shift, and nothing stays in law enforcement. It's not gonna be permanent, and as the community and things change, and you have to change, so.
Is it a possibility to put a police substation or like?
Well, I just said that maybe we want to put like a welcome center with a police department down there. But let's get the plan. We know that that's there. Let's get what plan's gonna be, so we can plug it into the way it's gonna be.
I will say, I see the
Logistically.
foot traffic, the police daily. I'm at the aquarium, they walk right past Jerry the Mermaid, right before your house, they turn, they walk behind the marina, and they make that entire loop. So, you know.
That's the data right there, what he's telling you.
I can check the cameras, I don't see
Yeah, they turn before his house.
Oh, really?
They turn right before his house, they turn into they're walking into the Hyatt parking lot, back behind the marina, along the riverfront, and they make that entire loop.
Let's not discuss strategies, because then they know where to go. Please leave that up to us in law enforcement. I would really appreciate me and reach me privately and the police chief. That's what we do, that's our expertise. We don't discuss those kind of things. Security's never discussed.
Yes,
Okay.
so if I may, I just wanted to, just 2 seconds about getting engaged or staying informed. So we have our website where you can find all of this information, and follow us on Twitter and Instagram, it's at Riverhead_DRI, but you can find that on the website, #RiverheadDRI.com. Just a reminder, we have monthly local planning committee meetings, 3 public meetings, this is the first of the 3, which are for the calendar that Eric spoke of earlier. All this information is available on the website. We'll be conducting interviews with key stakeholders, focus group sessions. You'll be followed up with online survey. There'll be a number of ways to get involved. So, and I just wanted to bring up the website for a second so that you can see when we were talking about open call, right? You can find out information here. Someone was inquiring about the DRI application. You can find that here when Dawn was speaking of the parking plan and town supervisor was talking about UDA. I'm scrolling too quickly. All that information is available here. And if you just have questions, you can just email us. So go to the website, and the screen didn't change, sorry about that. And you can find all of that information here. This is just the segue into the Q&A session, and I didn't want to interrupt the flow, so if you have any questions here, email us, Twitter, Instagram, etc.
Cassandra, I had one suggestion.
Yes, Dave.
Which is that in order to find the boundary map that you pulled up, you've got to go into the DRI application and look for it.
Pull that out
I
separately.
think it should be
Yep.
separate on the
Sure.
website.
Yes, it's a good idea.
So people understand what the geographic boundaries of the district are.
Just a few,
Yeah, go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Joe Bear. I live in Wading River. I've been there about close to 50 years. I'm also on the planning board with the town. I've been on for a number of years. I did have the opportunity to look at the DRI application. I think I did a wonderful job, and I hope this moves forward into this town square. A number of years ago, I had the opportunity to vacation in San Francisco, and on the other side of the Golden Gate Bridge is a town called Sausalito. Sausalito has all of the shops and the restaurants, everything on one side of the street. Then they have parks and recreation, and you look out at San Francisco and the San Francisco Bay. And that gave me the idea many years ago, and I'm glad, it's finally, slowly but surely, it looks like it's going to happen. I just want to make a plug for the Long Island Science Center. I think they've been back and forth at different places. Now they're in Tangham Mall. But they've made an investment in Riverhead in purchasing the Sweezy's building, which will be right on the town square. And it gives a diverse, similar to when the aquarium came in. I think this is going to be a diverse center location that we can really use in the town. Plus, one of their plans, and it's in your report, is to put a planetarium in, and that will be bringing people in from all over the place. So I wish you good luck with it.
Thank you, Mr. Bear.
Comment. You know, in listening to everybody and the multiple references to Greenport, which is close to my heart.
Sure is.
And I have a long history with the process in Greenport. And really, the only difference between Greenport and Riverhead is time. Our process started earlier, but it was very much the same. You know, when we started out, Greenport there was both a perception and a reality of public safety issues. We had half the stores in the village were vacant. It was a very depressed place. And what I'm getting at is at the time, when we were, you know, at meetings like this where people were talking about what to do to bring it up, everyone would say, well, we could be just like Sag Harbor, or we could be just like Mystic, Connecticut, or we could be just like this or like that. And we didn't want to be like anybody else. We wanted to be Greenport. And that's what Riverhead wants to do, and I endorse it. This is a very special place. It enjoys an unbelievably strategic location on Long Island at the crux of the two forks, and the population within 15 miles of this place is enormous. That's why you have the success you have on Route 58. The challenge is to create that dynamism downtown, and I think that this process is the right way to go. So I'm pleased to be involved. Thank you.
Thank you.
And it looks like we have one more question online before we end for the evening.
Larry, did you want to say something?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Am I on? Hi, good evening. Larry Oxman, I'm on the board of the Long Island Science Center. I'm also on the Business Improvement District. I'm really pleased to hear the support that we've been getting today, both at this meeting and the earlier meeting. It just it's quite nice. You know, the Science Center will offer a very unique experience. Joe Baer just spoke in San Francisco. There's something called the Exploratorium, which I've been to, which is quite large, and a science museum, hands-on science museum, and it's wonderful. So we have recently added a 100-seat planetarium, which will not only serve as a planetarium, it can show 360-degree movies and lectures. Again, it should be really quite nice. But let me just go back a little. When the Science Center started, and was trying to choose a permanent location, we were being courted by quite a number of communities on Long Island. Riverhead was always number one on our list for one real factor, and that's the aquarium. There's no other community on Long Island that has an aquarium, and it's quite a destination, and it gets a tremendous amount of people, school groups, education. So we see ourselves complementing the Long Island Aquarium. People can have an all-day experience here in Riverhead. We will be making an application for the DRI. We thought that the town's application was spot on, and we look forward to the future. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you, everybody in the community and the local planning committee members for spending your evening with us on this important project this evening. Good night.
Thank you, everyone. Please be safe.
Supervisor, thank you very much.